What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and if you haven't been on FGC Twitter lately, congratulations. But beyond that, you might have been missing the current discussion going around my current favorite character, ORO, because it seems for some reason ORO is the current target of all the hate that the FGC can summon forth. You know, it's always kind of like a revolving door of who's the current villain in the Street Fighter V scene, and now it's ORO's turn. And look, I have been in this position plenty of times as a Balrog main. You know, with this season, at one point it was Cammy, then it was Karen, then it was Cammy versus Karen, and then Urien pops up every now and then, and now it's ORO's turn. So it's nothing new. It's nothing that we're all unfamiliar with. But it's pretty interesting because if you haven't seen what's going on, people have been posting up these clips lately. They've been going a little ham on exposing the cheapness that ORO actually has in his arsenal. And it all is because of the outstanding gameplay of fellow ORO enthusiast, fellow zoning enthusiast, Broski. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these clips. I think they're actually pretty funny to see. So let's check out what's been going on with the ORO madness. So this one is from I'm Still the Daddy. He always provides an entertaining perspective on things, and this is him going up against Broski.
This is fucking stupid, literally! It doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever! Oh my god. No! Look at that!
Oh no. The despair.
I mean, you telling me this guy's shit, mate? All it is the fucking V-trigger. That's fucking all it is. Literally.
So he had a few opportunities to close out this round after eating a ton of damage from the read on the fireball with the V-trigger behind it. But Broski closed it out there, and you know, I'm a big ISDD fan. He always provides an interesting perspective on the state of Street Fighter V. Broski's reign of terror did not stop there. The next thing that came up, all within the same time frame, is him versus another high-level player you may have been familiar with, Phenom.
No, I'm fucking dead! Oh my god, look at this shit! Fucking, what the fuck is this shit, bro? Oh my god, I'm fucking dead. Oh, I'm alive. Thank Jesus. No! Holy
So Broski managed to land the 4-bar combo on Phenom here. You know, this combo only happens if he starts with the EX chicken feet and has at least one basketball item available. So this was kind of, I'll admit, this is pretty unfortunate. This only happens if he starts with that EX chicken and has the basketball. So there's an element of RNG behind it if he gets the right items when he activates. But yeah, he could have closed it out here. People were saying that when he popped the fireball to V-trigger activate, he probably could have killed Broski. But yeah, Broski's just been terrorizing EU ranked recently, and these clips have been causing quite the stir. And one of the funniest parts about this to me, Broski is one of the most calm and collected players I've ever seen. He streams and posts on YouTube frequently. I'm a big fan of Broski and his gameplay. And let's go ahead and take a look at his perspective on the 4-bar combo moment versus Phenom.
That's not gonna kill. That is though. Oh, it would have if he finished the combo. Okay. He could have killed me.
No, I'm fucking dead! Oh my god, look at this shit! Fucking, what the fuck is this shit, bro?
The contrast between the two, it kills me every time. So, you know, Broski's just very calmly earning his wins with his ORO V-trigger activations while everyone else is losing their mind. But it was pretty interesting how these two clips went around and caused a big stir on Street Fighter V Twitter, and everyone's discussing whether ORO is low tier, high tier, because, you know, a lot of people were saying originally that Oro is a low tier character. People are like, how could that be when he has his V trigger? And you know what? I had to step in here because I've been through the trials and tribulations as a Rogue main. I know the drill when it comes to downplaying your character and protecting the public perception of the character you play. So I'm here for all the Oro mains out there, the Oro army, you know, the gang's all here, for Broski, Brian F, and Prophet, the whole Oro army. I'm here to defend Oro and to mathematically, not just defend Oro, to show how mathematically you can always downplay your character and people will not be able to dispute it because it's with math and science. So I'm going to lay down exactly why Oro is not top tier and teach you guys the skills to mathematically downplay your character so you can use this technique at any point in order to prove that you're winning with only skill. Exactly. So let's go ahead and get into it. How to mathematically downplay your character. So I have this example baked up here. Let's get right into it. Here is a chart I've devised, and you can use this yourself. Here is Oro. On the x-axis, we have the time in the round. It's with 4 units. Over here, this would be the 4th unit, just to evenly divide up a round. And then we have on the y-axis, the units of cheapness. Now, the units of cheapness is kind of an arbitrary assessment here. You know what they say, numbers don't lie, right? I don't think there's a second part to that phrase. I think it's just that numbers don't lie. So I've mapped out Oro's cheapness as a round progresses on an average round. On average, he's about a 1 in cheapness. When the round first starts and he doesn't have any resources, there's really not too much going on with him. He doesn't have the best pokes, the best knockdown conversions, the best Oki. But over here at this moment, you know, right about here, see, this is where Tengu stones activate, right? At this point, he becomes extremely cheap, but it's only for a short period of time. So actually, how do you really get the average cheapness to describe how cheap this character is and compare it to other characters? Well, if you paid attention in calculus at all, you would know about something called the area underneath this graph. This is the integral of this graph here. So we don't need to look at the value at any single point. We need to get the average over a period of time to really describe how cheap this character is. And you can find that value by taking the area under a graph. So we can actually map this out. So what is this actually called? Okay, so if you're not familiar with the concept, this is called the integral. We're doing the discrete integral here. We're not going to do an infinite approximation. We're not going to get a general function for this. We broke down the round into 4 average units. So the integral from 0 to 4 of the function of cheapness based on the rate of change of time. All right, f of x dx. So if you've been paying attention in math class, you would know what's going on here. Now, we're not going to do a general function. Like I said, we're going to take an approximation here. So how do we calculate this? Well, if you know anything about basic geometry, right, we can break this down into some close approximations from some geometrical figures that you're familiar with. Rectangles. You guys know what rectangles are. You know how to calculate the area of a rectangle, right? Here's one rectangle, this first rectangle here, and then we have this second rectangle here. We're losing a bit of the geometrical features on this slope here, but like I said, it's just an approximation. So we have 1 level of cheapness over here until time unit 3. So what is the area of this rectangle here, right? It's going to be, of course, the length times height. Height here of 1 multiplied by length here of 3. Easy, that's the area of this rectangle, you know that. What about this rectangle here? We have 4 times the time unit of 1. So if we add the area of these 2 rectangles together, we get this approximate green range here where we can add it all up. 1 times 3 is 3, 4 times 1 is 4, 1 plus 4 equals 7. Oro is mathematically 7 units of cheapness on average. Okay, so we have an objective number. Now we can objectively, with math, show how cheap Oro really is. Okay, you guys are following, right? I'm sure you paid attention in math class, and I'm sure you're watching YouTube to learn math. That said, why don't we go ahead and compare this to other characters? Let me show you maybe some familiar examples so that you can kind of get the idea of what this unit of 7 actually means. All right, so here's Karen. Here's a comparison with Karen. Everyone knows Karen. Karen is not a resource-dependent character. She comes out of the gate at a constant level of cheap, and it stays stagnant throughout the entire round. Her V system doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if she has meter or not. On average, she's always about a 2.5 level of cheap. Oro, before resource, is only about a 1 level of cheap. But if you take the average of this, you integrate over the whole round, you can find that she's actually a 10 in the cheapness scale. A 10. So yes, Oro does have a higher peak in cheapness. You can see here clearly, he reaches a peak of 4, which Karen does not touch. However, it doesn't matter about the peak, it's about the average. So in this case, Karen is mathematically more cheap than Oro. That's a fact. So let's go ahead and go with another example here. Let's check out Cammy. Now, Cammy and Karen players have been going back and forth for quite some time now to kind of figure out who is cheaper than the other. And I have finally settled the debate here. Cammy is mathematically slightly more cheap than Cammy. Okay, she is 2.5 as well. So unfortunately, Cammy will have access to her two bar V trigger at about halfway through the round and again at the end of the round. So because of her spike in cheapness at 2 different points during the round, this actually raises the average cheapness value to be 10.5, mathematically cheaper than Karen. So there you go. That's the science behind it. I've officially settled the debate for you right now. And here's another example. This is where this system does kind of have some faults because some characters are just hard to quantify exactly how cheap they really are. So here is Zangief. So Zangief has an issue. This inflection point right here causes a problem with this calculation. See right here, this is where Zangief lands an SPD. So the problem with this is that at this moment right here, right at this spot, a very interesting phenomena occurs. You know, before this point, he's very, very not cheap. He's just walking around doing jabs. He doesn't have much going on. His rate of cheapness is very low, or the absolute value of cheapness. However, at this point, this becomes an infinite rate of change. The instantaneous rate of change here is undefined. You actually cannot calculate this. This breaks the derivative formula. Therefore, at this point, either you would define this as undefined or infinite. So someone with better math logic than me can obviously break this down. You can either go with infinite or undefined. Listen, I play Street Fighter. I haven't done math in years. I know the rate of change here is definitely undefined, but you know, Zangief kind of breaks the scale a little bit. He's extremely uncheap, extremely kind of whack before he lands his SPD, but once he lands his SPD, it's just a bad time for everybody. Hard to calculate. So yes, the cheapness scale does have its limits. Some characters are just uncalculatable how cheap they actually are. So, you know, you got to know when to use this tool to your advantage or not. But that said, you know, this is just a surefire way to prove that your character isn't cheap. I'm sure by now all of you can agree that I have proven without a doubt that Oro is less cheap than your average top tier character. So therefore, I'm not downplaying the character when I show you with math and science that Oro is fair and balanced. But that said, if you guys have any other examples of how to use this tool to downplay your own main, or maybe you have any of your other strategies you want to share about how to downplay your main, please feel free to share them in the comment section. I'd be happy to hear how you guys are using math and science and pure logic to downplay characters, because that's how we should always approach these types of discussions, with cool and logical thinking. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.